July 2020 by the Government of India, Ministry of HRD. The total published book is of more than 600 pages, and everything is covered regarding our education policy. And firstly, I will take you before the independence. First, let us understand rules, and according to the need of the society, according to the need of the internationalism, a rule is set for the education. That is known as education policy. Next, I will take you to the post-independence stage. Post-independence stage, that is, there was no education policy, and the policy is only aimed and focused on the colonial rules and the English. And the main aim is to produce clerks. You can say the Lord Macaulay education policy, you can say the preferably known as. And it is only focusing on the women, few and the marginalized communities only. Next, after independence,
I would like to tell you, I don't want to disturb this. Now education is for all. Road is open. It is vast. Earlier it was not like that. Education was for particular people or segment. Now education is open for everyone. Yes, sir, please.
Education, according to Sir, education at that time was for the elite communities, not for all. And after independence, Jawaharlal Nehru government has taken few decisions. Universalization of education, right to education. There are so many things he has implemented. And the next thing is that Maulana Abul Kalam Azad, the first education minister of India, he has taken few decisions that now onwards the education will be governed by the central government and the state governments in consultation with the state governments. And regarding this, they have constitution few of the things, that is University Grant Commission, Education Commission 1949-50, Secondary Education Commission 1952-53, University Grant Commission and the Kothari Commission 1964-66. The proposal to modernize India's education system. And Jawaharlal Nehru government thought about that, what to modernize in the technical sector, how we can modernize the technical sector, and for that he has constituted the Indian Institute of Technology in the year 1950 and National Council of Education Research and Training in the year 1961. The main aim of constituting both the institutions is to impart technical education, as well as they will advise the state government as well as the central government time to time to modernize the education system, modernize the new things in the education. This is the education policy throughout India after independence. How many education policies were there? The first education policy came into existence in the year 1964-66 and implemented in 1968 by Mrs. Indira Gandhi government. And at that time it was to remove illiteracy. Adult education was there in the year 1986. Again, the new education policy came by the Minister Rajiv Gandhi government, and it was to the empowerment of the people. Then again in 1992, the 1986 education plan was modernized by Mr. P.V. Narasimha Rao government, and at that time, what was the thing? There must be a common entrance test for the technical education like engineering and medical sciences. And after that, in the 2005, Manmohan Singh government implemented the education policy. He has revised the policy with common minimum program. In the year 2016, the Narendra Modi government has taken the initiative for implementing the new education policy. Why? What is the need of the new education policy? The need was the time of the hour at the BRISC conference. Among 72 countries, we were the second last in the education system. If I'm talking about the vocational courses, throughout India, only 5% students opt for the vocational courses. If I compare it with other countries, if I compare it with USA, 50% students used to enroll in the vocational courses. That is the main thing. And to make the students aware of their rules. You have heard about the Gurukul system. Gurukul system, their teacher used to teach under a tree. I'm not telling you to teach under a tree. If a child is having a problem understanding the tree, they used to take them to the jungle. And they used to give the example. And that is why the new education policy is continuously saying there must be the example-based, learning by doing, experiential learning. TLM, you must use the TLM whatever, whenever it is needed, according to the demand. Teaching learning material, previously it is known as teaching learning methodology. Now it is teaching learning material. So this is about the new education policies thing. The next thing is that types of education policies. National, state and institutional, it is only for the institution. Whatever policy we want to implement, we can implement according to the APP, that is the institutional policy. And the educational policy may be longer and shorter. Now, before understanding the education policy, we must understand the Constitution of India. According to the Constitution of India, certain powers are there for the central government. They are having defense, banking, currency, foreign affairs, and communication. And state government, they are having the power of police, trade, agriculture, and irrigation. But there is a common list where the state government as well as the central government, they both used to take the decisions in collaboration with each other. And that is the concurrent list. And number one is the education, forest, trade, manage, adoption, and succession. Here we will talk only about the education. Fundamental rights and duties according to the Constitution of India, Article 14, Article 15, Article 16, Article 30, and Article 51A of Indian Constitution, what it tells. Article 14, law of equality. There must not be any discrimination. Article 15, without any discrimination on the basis of Article 15 very clearly says that without the discrimination of religion, caste, creed, sex, and place of birth, education must be same for all. Article 16 of Indian Constitution guarantees that the same thing without the equal opportunity in the public employment to all citizens. Article 30 of Indian Constitution, right of minorities. And they shall be choice. Article 51A emphasizing, but it has been amended by the 42nd Amendment of Indian Constitution in the year 1976. And it says the citizen emphasizing civic responsibilities like respecting the Constitution, promoting harmony, and safeguarding the public property. When you are given you're fulfilling the fundamental duties, then you can enjoy the Article 14, 15 and 16. Is the first education policy of 2025. And it is more or less focusing on the technical education as well as local all levels. Because nowadays, we all are feeling that the students and the people, those who are coming out of the schools or colleges, they are not properly educated. They are having good percentage, good marks, but they are not having the common senses, the civic senses.
Or
They
skill.
don't have skills. If I'm talking about the statistical data of the new education policy, it is not vastly implemented. If I see the two states have implemented it rigorously and vastly, that is Karnataka and Maharashtra. The rest of the states, they are lagging behind. Now, Mr. Nelson Mandela has very well said, and it is based it on the entrance of University of South Africa, that if you destroying a nation does not need an atomic bomb or a missile. If you want to destroy a nation, just lower down the education system and allow students the cheating guys at the hands of such doctors. Building collapses at the hands of such engineers. Money is lost at the hands of such accountants and economists. And humanity dies at the hands of such religious scholars. Justice is lost at the hands of such judges. The collapse of education is the collapse of a nation. So education is highly needed. Teach them. Marks is not necessary. Their ethicality, aesthetic sense, as well as their moral values is much, much more needed to save the country and make the country a good position among the blessed countries. Now, the national education policy, the whole chapters, it is given like this. Like the chapter 1.1 to 1.9, it is very clearly written, early childhood education, 2.1 to 2.9, fundamental literacy and numeracy, 3.1 to 3.7, curtailing dropout rates, 4.1 to 4.3, restoring the school curriculum and pedagogy, 4.4, holistic development of learners, 4.11 to 4.2, multilingualism, 4.23 to 4.29, self-curricular integration and of essential subjects and skills, 5.1, it is much more important for the teachers. Teachers' education, the recruitment of the teachers, their moral values, their qualification, and their high sense of motivation, so that a good people can enter in the school education. Very clearly mentioned, that I will tell you in the next slide. And recruitment and deployment, 5.2 to 5.7, 5.8 to 5.14, service enforcement and culture, 6.1 to 6.20, equitable, inclusive education, and 7.1 to 7.12, efficient resourcing and efficient governance. This is all the chapters of 660 pages. Now, what is the difference between the present education system and what will be the difference of the new national education policy? You can understand, let us bank what we are running now, 10 plus 2. In the 10th standard, we all know what subjects are taught. Class 12, there is 3 channels. One is science with 2 branches, biology and mathematics, commerce and humanities stream, right? But the vocational courses, according to the guidelines of the CBSE, is 14, but it is not implemented, right? But the new education policy is 5334. What is 5? The 5 is the fundamental foundational stage. First 3 years, the students will go to the Anand. What they will do? There must be the toy-based education. There must not be the book. You are teaching with the book. This is A, this is 1, 2. The toy-based education. And what type of toys you have to be? The Indian traditional toys. Ludo, snake and ladder, just to stimulate their minds. You don't have to teach 1, 2, 3, 4. When they will play Ludo, they will start counting 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? The toy-based education, take them to the garden, take them to the park. Let them play on the sand. If the student is playing barefootlly on the sand, though we are following, but a few of the schools, they are not following. Art and craft, music and math, science means EVS, all will be included from class 2 and life skills 2. After that, it comes the preparatory stage, that is 8 to 11 for class 3 to 5. The same thing, and all the education is divided into semester system. Once in a year there will be 2 semesters, that means class 9 they will have the 2 semesters, class 10 we are hearing that there will be 2 examinations, that is semester 1 and semester 2, right? And class 9 to 12, there in 12 classes there is an option. What is the option? Previously, all the class 12 students, there is 3 streams, that is maths, bio, commerce and arts, that is humanities stream. But now onwards, there will be no discrimination or divergence on the basis of subject. If I am interested in mathematics and I want to choose economics, I can. If I am interested in chemistry and I want to choose sociology, I can.
In this case,
Fail. What the CBSE has said, what the NEP is saying, that if he is passed in the skill subject, in the vocational subject, he will be treated as pass. Because the CBSE and the NEP don't want to demoralize the student because he is good at the vocational classes. The objective of NEP is the holistic development of the learners. It must be the learner-centric, right? What I'm teaching, no. What sir is saying, there must be a personal lesson plan for every child. If I'm talking about the doctor, I'm giving Mr. Abhishek paracetamol and I'm giving the paracetamol to Mrs. Bose. Is it possible? You have to manage the children and you have to channelize them in certain field that they can do well in their life, and they will, throughout the life, they will remember you that madam has changed my life. The next thing is that universalization of the education. What is going on throughout the world, we have to adopt. We have to implement. Otherwise, globalization is very difficult nowadays, and at last, promotion of excellence, and as well as education and research. Because NEP has changed the higher education to not the school education. There is a drastic change in the higher education. In the next slide, I will tell you. This is the learner-centric. Teaching must be the learner-centric. Earlier I told you, discussion-based. There must be the discussion. What the thing is that one-way communication is going on. I am imparting, the students are only listening. And if they are asking, sit down, I don't want to answer tomorrow or day after tomorrow. No, every child should take initiative, every child should speak out. That is the discussion-based teaching. diverging-based, delivery value-based education. You have to connect your own subject matter with the value system. Value system is much more necessary. Because why it is necessary? According to the social engineers, we all are living in a nuclear family. Mother, father, 2 child or 1 child. Right? And there is no one to take care of them. What they want, they are using the mobile phones, they are using the TV, they are playing with the video games. That's all about them. They are not cultured. But previously, it was the joint family. And Iravati Karve, famous sociologist, has very well said one sentence: a joint family is where the people, more than nuclear family, they live together. They share the foods, they share the emotions, they share the happiness with each other. That is all about joint family. If 5 or 10 people are there in your family, you don't have to think about your kids, that how they are taking food. That is, we have our social engineers are saying that we have ruined our social system. And that's why the new social problems are coming out. That is a different part. Developing multidisciplinary thinkers, subject matter, and try to think over them on which subject you can connect this theory or principles. That how you can make the multidisciplinary thinkers. Developing creativity. Without creativity, it is not possible. If you are a chef, if you are making a cake, if it is tasty but it is not well designed, do you like it? You will not. जो बिकता है, जो चलता है, वो बिकता है. Design and thinking is much more necessary for the creative thoughts, aestheticness. Otherwise, it is very difficult. Discovery-oriented teaching. There must be certain new fundas for the teaching and developing critical thinkers. You have to make the critical thinking over your plan and make them critically thinking over the lesson, over the topic, over the principles, how they are thinking. They may ask you many questions, you have to answer their questions. And decision-making skills is a much more thing at last, it is much more important. Now the 4 pillars of National Curriculum Plan. This is the most important thing. The National Curriculum Plan has the 4 pillars, that is the accessibility, multiple exit point, multiple entry point. I'm talking about the higher education, I'm not talking about the school education. Equity, shareholders, stakeholders, curriculum part, students, alumni, as well as parents will sit together and make the curriculum according to the NEP, and CBSE has also mentioned it in their website also. And experiential learning, I think much we have talked last session in the art integration about the experiential learning. Flexible undergraduate degrees that I will tell you in the next slide. Foundational literacy from grade 3 in the year 2025. Increase in graduate enrollment ratio. That is the main thing. Graduate enrollment ratio is very less. We have to reach at least 50%. And at last, the enhancement of open and distance learning. If I'm talking about the IGNOU, if I'm talking about the Nalanda, if I'm talking about the Symbiosis, and so many distance education universities are there, public sector is there, and private universities are also there. Internationalism of education technological innovation, increased public investment. For the new education policy, the government is given the 6% of the GDP for the education. And this is the big achievement for ourselves, that they have invested 6% of the total GDP of the country. Now, what I was telling about the teachers mentioned in the new education policy, chapter 5. I must read out line by line so that you may understand. Teachers truly shape the future of our children and therefore the future of our nation. It is because of this noblest role that the teacher in India was the most respected member of society. Only the very best and most learned become teachers. Society gave teachers or gurus what they needed to pass their knowledge, skills, and ethics optimally to the students. The quality of teachers' education, recruitment, employment, service conditions, and empowerment of teachers is not where it should be, and consequently, the quality and motivation of teachers does not reach the desired standards. The high respect of teachers and the high status of teaching profession must be restored so as to inspire best to enter the teaching profession. The motivation and empowerment of teachers required to ensure the best possible future for our children and our nation. Again, I will say the fundamental rights and duties. Value-based. What are the values you have to impart to the students? Some, the truth, dharma, the righteous, the shanti, peace, love, faith, ahimsa, scientific temperament, citizenship values, life skills, and at last, the service. Service is the most important thing, because if you are not serving, you will not serve the parents. I have discussed all the differences between the old education policy and the implemented new education, national education policy. The most thing is that most important thing, entrance test. Previously it was multiple entrance test. From now onwards there will be a single entrance test, that the CUET conducted by NTA. And the marks based often by the memory, but now there will be the 360-degree holistic progress card, what Sir is saying repeatedly. Now the main policies, what are the things is that NEP structure, gender inclusion fund, higher education holistic progress card, research programs, academic bank of credit. I will take another session few in the next month.
We are in a pilot project, but it is not being implemented. Credit card system,
credit teaching, academic bank of credit, 3-language formula, and right. Now, what are the changes in the higher education? Because we know 3 years graduation. Because previously, few of the peoples, they have completed the graduation in 2 years. After 11th, they used to go to the college or university. But now, the last education policy, it was 3 years graduation. But what the changes government has made? Before going through, the same thing with our higher education also, holistic education, emphasize on art and humanities, multilingual education. In the graduation also, first year and second year, you have to read 2 languages. In the graduation part 1, you will read any Indian language, and part 2 any foreign language, whatever you want to choose. If there is an option.
in this case, I'd like to add one thing. Those who want to become teacher, nowadays you know.
Professional development. I think for the last 2 years we are going through the rigorous training, but at the university level, for the last 3 or 4 years, they are going through the training. Academic staff, colleges there, every university they are exchanging the faculties for this training. The same thing, leveraging technology, strategic assessment and evaluation system. In the higher education too, there must be the rubrics also. What sir is saying, what annual pedagogical plan is saying, rubrics must be there. Why I am given 3 marks to him and why I am given 4 marks to him.
You have to justify it.
That is needed.
पहले जमाना में ये नहीं था. What I am telling you, when we studied in the year, you can say 70s and 80s, what happened, you know? अच्छा इतना लिख लिया.
Right? If you have completed the degree course of 1 year, that is 2 semesters, you will be getting the UG certificate. 2 years, 4 semesters, you will be getting UG diploma, undergraduate diploma. 3 years, 6 semesters, you will be getting the bachelor's degree. 4 years, 8 semesters, you will be getting the bachelor's degree with honors and bachelor of engineering. Credit, I am leaving it back because in the next section I will tell you about the credit. Next, this is the newspaper cut that I have kept and I have added that 713 universities and 7 graduation level, you have to take 2 languages, one Indian language and another foreign language in the second year. In the third year, that will be the honors subject, 6 papers or 8 papers may be there with dissertation report. And this is the multidisciplinary education system of India. We are having diversified subjects at the university level, whether I am talking about the philosophy, Indology, sociology, art, dance, pure applied science, theatre, education, economics, statistics, sports, language, is that EMS group, economics, mathematics, statistics. Economics, honors, mathematics and statistics, the subsidiaries
The
are
combination, getting that combination is very tough, very tough. अब economics पढ़ी है.
mathematics and philosophy. Now come to the post-graduation stage. Post-graduation is of 2 years. Now onwards it will be of 4 semesters. Right? If you have completed 1 year with first semester and second semester, you will be getting the PG diploma. If you have completed both the 4 semesters, you will be getting the post-graduation degree. Rest, credit, score, that I will discuss in the next section. Now, the 4 curriculum framework that is given by the UGC to the universities. What the vocational subjects they must teach at the university and the college level is artificial intelligence, robotics, Internet of Things, 3D printing, genetic engineering, quantum computing, and other technological things. Just giving birth to the babies.
Next.
Now, the types of institutions. There are A, B, C, D, E. One is college, and that is affiliated to the universities. Autonomous degree college, that is
Next.
given to university. And the next is a video that will brush up the